one of the questions people ask is now a good time to buy a home, right? And you have certain gurus, Grant Cardone and others that are just saying, no, don't buy a home, right? And we really want to educate our veteran community on really taking advantage of that VA loan and the fact that you can utilize that more than once, and not really being fearful of home ownership, but really educating themselves on the possibility.
I think you hit a real key point there. It's fearful, right? Being fearful of the unknown, and a lot of times when you're talking about military, and I'm not saying all military. I wouldn't have the actual exact percentages, but I can almost assure you, a lot of the military are first-time home buyers. So with being first-time home buyers, there's a lot of fear crossing that pathway. So I think you hit the nail on the head when you spoke about fearfulness.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now, Kenneth, so let's say we're talking and we're speaking with some veterans, and somebody asks you, is now a good time to buy a home? How would you actually address answering that question for them?
I personally would say anytime is the time to buy a home. Anytime is the right time to buy a home. It's not about the time to buy a home. It's about what price you buy the home at, what type of condition is the home in, and also what does the financing look like. Outside of that, if we can go to connect the dots on all those points there, I think, again, home ownership is always key. I think a lot of times it's very equivalent to the stock market and investing market. Everyone asks, when should I buy a stock, or what stock should I buy? Or it's just like, I guess, the home, right? What home should I buy? Where should I buy? When should I buy? Well, it's all about pricing, and financials, that's the key. So anytime is the time to buy. It's just if you're buying smart.
Definitely. And that's a real good key point. And I would kind of answer that question very similar, and really just kind of get down to the root of what your financial position is, right? Looking at your own financial position, looking at, do you have the savings, right? Are you in a position where you have stable employment or stable income? If you're a first-time home buyer and, you're looking to purchase a house, you might be an entrepreneur, and it could be up in the air, right, on your income streams, right? Do you plan on being in that city long-term, right? All of those different factors are going to influence your individual decisions. So when you ask the question of, is it a good time to buy? It's like, I don't know. Is it for you? Right. I don't know what your bank account looks like. I don't know what your life goals are for the next 5 years. Tell me that, and then I can kind of reassess the situation at that time.
True indeed. It's kind of a loaded question, and if an agent or a loan officer or anyone that is in the real estate industry is telling you, giving you a definitive answer without understanding the variables, I can go ahead and yield to perceive. We probably want to kind of steer in a different direction, right? Just because these variables are important, all the way down to what loan product that you're using. Not only that, what type of buyer are you? Are you a first-time home buyer? Are you an investor? Are you looking for a property for a family member? It's just so many different variables that you want to make sure that you're covering before making the decision.
Absolutely. No, that's a great point. And just, you're listening to these different gurus, right? And everybody has their own agenda on why they're telling you certain information. Yeah. You're listening to Grant Cardone, for example, and he has a very large and successful real estate fund, right? And he is a strong investor in apartment complexes and big planned unit development communities and things of that nature. And he doesn't want you to own where you live, which, I'll get into why that doesn't make sense. But when you think about it, maybe that's not the situation for him, and maybe he can go and pay rent for the rest of his life, right? And that's totally fine for him. He's also almost a billionaire, right? So you gotta assess and look at who's giving advice, why they're giving advice, and is your situation the same as theirs, right? Because if he's a multi-millionaire, dude got hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So his life plan on why he's trying to do something and why it's not a good idea in his estimation is going to be a lot different from the reasons why you should or should not at this current time period.
True indeed. And one thing I would say as well, what is the why, right? Why are you into this business? Why are you into real estate? Why are you into filming? Why are you into, again, anything? You always want the why to be for you and your family. And at least it kind of have some type of inclusion on the same values. And if so, at that point, then you know that you can kind of connect the dots with that person, because ultimately you want someone to treat your purchase as it's their own.